Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I am Courtney Dunker. That's me and my sweet little family over to the right-hand side, in case we've never met before, which is probably a lot of you guys. There's so many of us on this call, which is so cool. I have been a coach for 7 years, and I hit Superstar, I think, in 2020. So about 5 years into my business. Superstar. And so anyways, I'm just super excited to share with you guys tonight. I am by no means a Reels expert, but I have been really focusing on growth in this area. And so I'm just excited to share with you guys some things that I have learned personally with you tonight, as well as just how to finish the month strong. We have, I think it's 1 week left of the month to make our goals happen. So I'm really excited to dive into our content. Before we get too far into it though, one of the things that we like to do on our personal, smaller team call is go over recognition. So I want you guys to just blow up the chat box right now. This is a time for you to recognize something that you have done in the past week that you are proud of. That's a victory. It can be anything from, signing somebody up to posting something vulnerable on social media to responding back to or handling. I had one girl who handled someone who was very upset about shipping delays, handled it with grace. That's a huge victory. It could be anything. So I want you to blow yourself up in the chat box, one thing you did. And then I also want you to shout out a teammate. This is something that we love to do on our team call as well. Just shout out a teammate that you feel you've been inspired by. Tag their name in there and say what they've been doing, because it's so good to just spotlight people on our team and really just be proud of what someone is doing. Oh, I love this. I'm reading them as they go. Crushing her business. Amazing. Oh, it's so cool. It's so good to do that. I love starting our calls that way and just recognizing what is going well for us, because it really just sets us up in the mindset space of gratitude. And of course, I had to have a little basketball gif up here because my husband played professional basketball. So that's just a little fun thing. Okay, so let's dive in. First thing that I want to say before we dive into any of this content, because I think if you're anything like me, whenever there's some kind of content, okay, how to do reels or a content strategy, I'm always just tell me what to do to create success. Tell me what I need to post to get coach signups. Tell me what I need to say to get client signups. I get really into this mindset sometimes that there's one way to do it, or there's only there's a secret to the success. So I just want to put out a little PSA for all of us who tend to do that, who jump on this call and we're there's got to be a secret. There is literally no one size fits all. Okay. What works for somebody may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for somebody else. And there's going to be a lot of trial and error. I can honestly say that because when Reels first came out, I was oh, I do not dance. I'm not. Mostly because at the beginning it was a lot of entertainment, and I felt and then I started seeing a lot of people have victories with mom humor or humor in general, and I was am I funny? I don't know what kind of jokes to make. And I felt I was really struggling with what people were doing on the outside, and how do I navigate this new change on social media? Obviously Reels have now been out for a while, so it's not super new, but I do feel it's an area in our business that sometimes some of us who are a little bit more introverted can be tiptoeing around, shall we say. So here I am showing up with you guys, just telling you that there is no one size fits all. So what I share on here is really to help you figure out who your mission field is, because I 100% believe, there's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that you are a Beachbody, or should I say a body coach, a body partner, for a reason. There are people out there that you are meant to impact. You specifically, you uniquely. So everything that I'm about to share tonight is focused around that message, and that mission field is that you are meant to connect to a specific people. You're not meant to look like everybody else. So what I share tonight, we're going to figure out how it's going to work for you individually. Okay. So there are types of ways to grow and show up through Reels. So before we dive into more ideas, I want you to answer these questions. Take a few minutes on this call. I'll actually set a timer, because we are going to learn a little bit and do a little bit. We don't want to just be in consumption mode of just learning. We also want to be doing. So no better time to do it than right now, which is great. Okay. So I'm going to set my timer. I want you to answer these questions for yourself. Who are you? What do you love? What are you good at? What can you share that is like your one thing? What are things that you're already doing that you can turn into super simple content that adds value and attracts your ideal partner? I had this thought the other day as I was meal prepping, and I was just like, this is part of my routine because obviously I'm a health and wellness coach. And I'm trying to work on my postpartum journey. And I realized like, this is just content that I can turn into reels, something I was already doing for my personal journey. I can just simply record what I'm doing and use that and break that up into a few pieces of content. So I want you guys to sit down and think through, who are you and what do you love? What are you really good at? What are things that you're already doing right now? Okay, jot some ideas down. I'm going to give you about 1 minute to just brainstorm and brain dump various things that come to mind. And it could be anything. It does not have to be health and fitness related. Like if you are great at organization, I want you to write that down. Like that's not me. I need more people in my life like that. If you are great at like little hacks because you're just like this mom who like has everything in order, write that down. If you are someone who is like incredible, like leadership and mindset is your jam, like write that down. I want you to think through all the things that you love. What are things that you Google? What are things that you are searching for on your Instagram? What is your season of life that you're constantly looking into? For me, I'm raising a 1-year-old. And so something I Googled the other day was like, when do kids drop their second nap and go to one nap? Because I feel like our schedule is getting a little wonky. That would be something that my person is probably Googling right now. Okay. So I want you to take a few minutes. We've got about 30 more seconds for you to just brain dump a bunch of ideas. And I want you to maximize all of your thoughts. No naps here. Oh my goodness. You're incredible, Christina. You need a massage or something. Okay, so my encouragement with answering these questions is to know that it does not have to be Beachbody centric. Focus on what will add value. And I haven't fully transitioned into body, so I need anything I say Beachbody, just assume I'm talking about body, okay? Is fun and enjoyable for you, and it will bring people to your page. Okay, so moving on to the next page is gonna help us. I wanted to pinpoint 4 people, myself included, so 3 other people, and you might recognize these people. Amy spoke last week, which was awesome, or the week before, which is awesome. And I want to show you that there's such a wide variety on this page. Now, I didn't pick anyone because I'm like, oh, you know, they're doing X, Y, and Z. I picked these 4 because they are Beachbody coaches and they represent very different branding across the board. And I just want to show you that there is room at the table for all of our differences to come together and to change as many lives as possible as a company. And I love that your difference here and what makes you like unique and what you love and what you're Googling and what you're looking for and words that you're using, that is what you bring to the table through your content and through your reels that's going to attract more people to your page. So for example, over on the left-hand side is my page. I do a lot of work with my TTC community, which if you don't know what that means, it's trying to conceive. So we went through infertility for about 7 years. That's a huge part of my Beachbody business because I shared that journey for 7 years. I'm now a mom to a 1-year-old, our little miracle, but that's still a huge part of the people that I can connect to because I have been in their shoes. And also we went through IVF to have our daughter. So if we want to expand our family again, we're really looking at going down that path again and trying to conceive and going through infertility, all that kind of stuff. So for us, that's a huge part of my journey and the people that I love to talk to. It's people I love to encourage. It's people I know how to relate to. Faith content. My faith is a huge part of my life. Literally everything is interwoven. So like I use faith language in everything that I post. That's not for everybody, but for my people, I want to make sure that I'm showing up authentically. If we were to have coffee together, I would want to speak the exact same way as I do on my social media content, right? And then obviously like coach lifestyle is a huge part of it, Beachbody lifestyle, but I was someone who was looking for a solution from the business. I came into this because I wanted to be home with my daughter one day, or my kids. I didn't know I was going to have kids, like when I was going to have kids, but that was my focus. That was my vision. I saw other women who were thriving in this and they were home with their kids. So that was the vision that I saw, which got me to say yes to coaching. So coaching and sharing and pouring belief into women and how they can use their faith in their fitness journey to create a business. That's my specialty. That's what I love talking about. That's what I feel like I bring to the table that's unique. And we might have similarities, but the way that we go about sharing those similarities is going to be a little bit different. So then next over, we have Haley, and I love her page because it's so like, I just would love to like jump into her life for a second and like go adventure with her. She's got travel. She's a teacher turned coach. She is like renovating their house, but they lived in Hawaii for a little bit. She loves to hike, and she's huge on really, doing movement for your body to be able to do her hobbies and her adventures and her lifestyle, which is so cool. That's different than my life. So if I start trying to like, I look at her page and I'm like, I love her content, but if I tried to create content just like her, it really wouldn't help me build my business, because that's not who I am. Like, I love that. I want to do those things, but I'm not traveling and hiking all the time. So it doesn't fit. It's good to stay in your lane. It's good to stay focused on what your story is and know that story. And then we have Amy, right? She shared a lot about how she shares the coach opportunity, but she's someone who is sharing also how she's unschooling and how she's raising her children that's different than other people. She's doing life by design. She's huge on mindset. She's sober. Like, she talks about these pieces of her story that she brings to the table that's different than other people. And she stays true and clear to that messaging. And then over on the right-hand side is another coach, Monica. And what I love about her page is that it's humor on what kids, like if adults did what kids do. And so she's reaching a whole different demographic of moms, and it's humor and it's results, and she's sharing that piece of it. But if you look at all four of our pages, you are going to see that we stay true in what we love to bring to the table and who we want to connect with. But at the same time, we also weave in Beachbody. We weave in the results that we're getting. We weave in the coach opportunity. We tie that into our lifestyle and into our social media content that's adding value to people's lives, whether it's entertainment, whether it's education, whether it's wanderlust or parenting, or even the TTC journey. It's really focusing on what is something that I can bring to the table. And then in that audience, I can help them get fit. I can help them clean up their nutrition. I can help them be consistent. I can help with their mindset or with the financial opportunity through coaching. That's what we want to do, is we want to reach not just like the health and fitness world, right? We want to reach a specific people and then bring them into the health and fitness world, bring them into the business world through coaching. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. We have, okay, I can't see my full screen here. Okay, so consistency, these are things to know as you go throughout your journey and as you're doing your content. So like I said, I'm not going to give you guys a specific strategy because I think it really matters who you are. And I just saw someone said, I love reading. Okay, you guys, literally there are like book Instagrams out there. I don't know if you knew that, but that is something that it's just crazy. You can really turn any passion of yours into content, and that's going to bring people to your page, and you can weave in health and wellness into, honestly, I truly believe anything. Okay, so number one to know about reels and content is that consistency matters. You have to continually provide value that is going to line up with the person that you're specifically trying to reach, okay? So that's really, really important, because if I'm trying to reach my trying to conceive community, right? These are women who are going through infertility. If all I talk about is motherhood and all I talk about is mom humor, I'm not really being consistent in reaching out to that market of people. I want to make sure that I'm consistently providing the same value. I've seen some incredible coaches who have focused strongly on nutrition. They share recipes left and right. And you know what you don't see on their reels? You don't see them in their motherhood journey. Even though they're moms and they weave that in, like you can tell that they're moms, it's not the focus, and they're not getting distracted by trying to do everything. They're staying consistent at their one thing, like their 1 to 3 things that they're really good at, and that really lines up with who they want to help. So the second piece after consistency is clarity. Clarity on your voice and confidence in bringing that voice daily to social media. Really trusting, I think this is a difficult part, at least for me, is trusting that the people who are meant to find you, that need your page, will find you. And I think sometimes we can get in our head with social media, like the algorithm doesn't work and this isn't working and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if we stay focused and consistent on what matters, that we find joy in bringing to our page. Every time I write a post to a woman going through infertility, and I get messages or comments about how that changed their perspective, or it just made a difference in their life, I am so fulfilled. I have so much joy. And I think that's really powerful to pay attention to, because that type of content I'm not getting burnt out on. But those women who are in the trenches of that heartache also need health and wellness. They also need finances. So I just have to find a way to connect the two. And that's through sharing my story. So as you are consistent in finding clarity on your voice, be confident that the more consistent and clear you are with who you're trying to serve, then the more that you're going to find those people naturally coming to your page. We have to release that comparison and what is working for someone else and getting distracted. Like, even if it's like someone on your team, maybe your upline coach or a sideline sister, whatever, and we get distracted by what they're doing. They share on a team call that this worked really well for them. And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, I've got to shift my whole plan. But it's like, maybe that's not the case for you. Because if you shift your whole plan, it's really hard for you to see if it's working, if your consistency is making a dent in the demographic that you want to reach. So what do you bring to the table? Trust it to be sufficient. I know I've seen like a lot of, I don't even know what they're called, like memes, I guess. I'm not really sure. But things about like Rihanna when she did the Super Bowl performance and how she didn't have all these extra fluffy things. She was just confident in using her vocal cords. And she was also pregnant, which is just like, I mean, that's just one thing. I'm like, when I'm pregnant, I'm like flat out on the couch. So I was just like impressed with that. But when I've seen people post about how she just showed up authentically in her natural ability to sing, and that was sufficient. She felt that was sufficient to show up in. That's the kind of confidence that we want to show up on in our social media content. When you are putting your reels out there, I want you to be so clear that this is reaching your specific person that you're trying to impact, and you trust it to be sufficient. You're not worried about it being valuable to everybody, because you know without a shadow of a doubt, you're clear that it's valuable to that one person. So then that next piece of it is, as we build that confidence and clarity, we stop thinking about all of the people. That's a frequent conversation I have, especially with newer coaches, newer leaders, is, well, but then I'm like, I don't want to just focus on one person because I'm not helping everybody. But I don't know if you guys notice, well, you probably don't because you're not on my team. Well, maybe you are, but the point is that I'm trying to make is that the people on my team are also moms. There are some moms on my team. So even though I'm serving women who have gone through infertility and I talk a lot to that person, that doesn't mean that there's not moms that sign up on my team, right? So we have to stop thinking of all of the people and focus on the one person that you are here to serve. The one person. What are her 5 W's? This was something recent that I learned. What are her wants? So if you're thinking, okay, here are my things, like I was a teacher, I'm a boy mom, like whatever. What's a boy mom wanting right now? In this season of life, what does she crave? What is she wishing for? What is she worried about? For me, in my stage of life, I am a mom to a 1-year-old, but I'm also a woman who's gone through infertility. And one of my worries is that I won't be able to conceive naturally and expand my family, because now I know the joy of motherhood. And I'm like, I'm not done. I want more. I want like 10 of them. Probably not 10. That's a little dramatic. But that's a worry of mine. So I can connect with that woman. I can write content, create a reel that's going to encourage that girl. I want to encourage the person that I am. I want to encourage that person because I want them on my team. I want to help them. I want to serve them. I know them. Who are they? What words is she using? I think words are so powerful. They can either build up or tear down. So think of your words. Like, what words are boy moms using? What words are women going through infertility using? What are bookworms? What words do they use? And I know that's kind of hard to think about, but like even just like clickbait and trigger words, like what is going to be a trigger word that's going to connect to your audience? It's going to get them to stop their scroll, because you are putting a lot of work into creating your content. So you want to create content they're actually going to consume and feel is valuable. That's when people stay on our pages. It's not just going viral, having your account blow up and then decrease, right? We want to serve people at the table who we know what your wants are. We know what your wishes are. We know what your worries are. We know who you are and we know what words you're using. And I'm here to offer that every single day, even if you don't have the full solution. So like in my situation, for someone who is struggling with thinking that she might struggle to conceive for round 2 after going through infertility for 7 years, that was a worry of mine I shared with you just a second ago. If I think through like, kind of that next step, I may not have a solution for that woman. I may not know that I can solve her problem of wanting baby number 2. I may not know that, but I can give her encouragement for the journey today. So like boy moms, I saw that earlier. Oh, I love this dad coach. Okay. I don't know what a diesel processor is, but that sounds cool. So I might need more on that one, but, I'm just reading some of these so I can, okay, so we have college daughters in their 20s. Thinking through that person, you may not have the exact solution for that person, but you can have words of encouragement that's going to see that person through the season they're in. What would you tell yourself when it comes to the wants that you want? What would you tell yourself when it comes to the wishes, the worries, the words that they're using? And then finally, that last piece, what is she Googling or what is he Googling? What problem are they trying to solve? So I think through that, like obviously DIY kind of guide, that's incredible. My husband and I talk about that frequently, how we wish that we were more like people who could just DIY a lot more things. So you can come out to Hawaii anytime. But that's something that like your DIY projects, can you give tutorials in your reels that's going to connect with other DIY dads? Is there questions that they have? Like, how do I put this together? What are they searching for that you have learned how to do that you could put into a reel? That's pretty cool, right? OR nurse, like Grey's Anatomy is a huge thing. I watched that forever. How can you turn that part and like use, if you want to connect with those people, right? If you want to connect with someone, another male in the medical field, how can you teach that person like who's applying to nursing school or who's after nursing school, how to get good shifts or how to get contracts? What are some things that you can teach in your reels that you can also connect with in your stories that's going to transfer them into funneling into your body business? That makes sense? And finally, be your own voice, find who you are, what you bring to the table, and commit to going all in there. I feel like once I flipped the script and truly believed that I had value to bring to the table, and I wasn't focused on what other top coaches or what other successful, like up and coming coaches were doing. Once I focused on what I did, what I brought to the table, my unique voice and my unique perspective of the world, right? I may not be able to solve everybody's problem, but you know who I can help? I can help the woman who went through infertility for 7 years. I could speak left and right to that woman because I know what she needs to hear. So thinking through that, I need to find my confidence in that messaging through my reels. It's not about doing what the popular trend is. It's not about going viral. It's about serving on your mission field. And your mission field is the person you're trying to help, the person who we were before we got this incredible opportunity, before we got this incredible tools in our toolbox to transform our health. My coaches and I have been having so many conversations of how what we do is so much bigger than a product. Like it's hard because we're genuinely changing people's habits, their thoughts, like the core of how they were raised a lot of times. So thinking through, flipping that script, your job here as a body coach is not to be the most viral, famous, like successful person. Obviously, if that happens naturally, that's awesome. That's awesome. Like we celebrate that. But our job is to impact the people in our network, and we get to create that network. So who's your network? Who are your people? Flip that switch in your head that says, I have an audience out there waiting for my voice, waiting to see my reels, waiting to see my content. I am clear on who I am and what my voice is in this journey. I'm going to be consistent and confident in bringing that to the table so that I can help that woman, that man, that OR nurse, that DIY dad, like knowing who that is and helping them, because those people, although you will connect on your similar hobbies and interests, you will be able to connect them to these tools that are changing your life. So though your health and wellness may not be your main connecting piece, and it is for some people, Maybe you're like a CrossFit coach, or you came from, group exercise. I know we have a couple of superstars that have done that. Like, it could be health and fitness. That could be your connecting piece. But for a lot of us, that's not our leading connector. Our leading connector that we bring value to is a different space. But those people in that space, that's the point. Those people in that space also need the coach opportunity. They also need the bootcamp opportunity. Okay. All right. So let's finish the month strong. My final little 2 slides here. I want you guys to think through, and this is like our team's version of this picture on the right-hand side. Shout out to my girl, Kylie Essner, who created that, put that together. I know there's a couple floating around. So if you were the original person, thank you for coming up with this idea. I don't know who it was, but I want you guys to think through the list on the right-hand side. Take a screenshot, whatever. Think through these questions. Who have you talked to who has said no, not yet, not right now? Because I guarantee you that list is a whole lot longer than our yes list. Is that correct? Okay, so now the next step is to go through that list. Go through your network on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're thriving. Okay, I want you to think through how you can serve that person and then ask them. Okay, so think through how can you serve that person. So for example, maybe I have a grandma who was like, I don't want to do my workout. I don't want to do your workouts, Courtney, because she can't, whatever, but I want to support your business. Let me take a look at the menu of how I can help, and let me suggest something and ask if she would be willing to make a purchase. Because the incredible thing about 2023 is that Success Club and ending the month strong, it comes down to volume as much as it does total solution packs. And I don't know about you guys, but when I have people signing up, whether it is for a small tub of collagen, or it's for a Shakeology sampler, or it's for a total solution pack, a win is a win. Have you guys seen that GIF going around? It's like, a win is a win, a win is a win. And guys, that's so true in our business. When we are working from month to month, you stay joyful about the job that we do because you stay in your lane of the mission field you're trying to serve. That brings you joy. The actual process of creating content brings you joy because you love talking to that audience. But the second piece of the funnel is that you love serving people with things that are going to help their journey. And that means we have more to offer than just a total solution pack. And once you start getting some wins where people are signing up with a bevy here and a Shakeology there and collagen there, and they're getting a yoga mat over there, you are starting to have those wins. And any time someone signs up, it feels good. That's when we are creating an environment of joy. Okay, that's when we're creating and showing up in our space to the best of our abilities, because we have this whole toolbox. And now we have the encouragement and the incentive that aligns with the whole toolbox, which is just so powerful. So we can go through our whole no list and we can find one thing that person can potentially purchase through us. And it's our job to go ask them. Not ask them if they want to join a boot camp, because we're used to that, right? But take the next step and say, hey, have you ever introduced collagen into your routine? Have you ever struggled with your gut? Like, how is bloating going for you? That might be a kind of a strange question. You might want to know the person a little bit better. But the point is that you can look at our menu and you can suggest things. That friend of yours that loves weightlifting, and you're like, girl, I go to the gym, like I am like bros down like to the max. And I'm just like, put my big headphones on and I do my huge weightlifting and Olympic lifting and stuff like that. I've had conversations with women who love Olympic lifting. And so they're not interested in the boot camp, but they might be interested in Recover, because Recover is incredible. It tastes amazing. And it has incredible recovery for sore muscles. Okay, so then the next step is thinking through, not just asking the no list, but finish the month strong by creating content. Now that we've talked about questions that and words, the 5 W's that we mentioned earlier, you are getting to know who you're looking for, the mission field that you show up on. I want you to think through content that you can create based off of the menu on the right that's going to connect a solution we have that they can purchase to a solution that our ideal market is looking for. For example, with infertility, gut health is a huge part of fertility. I would never make any medical claims because I cannot do that legally, but I can share that research shows that your gut health is very tied to fertility. And so I'm going to do the gut protocol, revitalize and optimize. I'm going to start introducing those into my journey, and I can share that. I can create a reel to my audience that's going to connect something I have in my toolbox, these incredible, These incredible supplements, to the people I'm trying to support. The dad who's DIYing that I saw above, okay, hello, grab a beach bar in the middle of your next DIY project. Like, that's awesome. That's a great snack that they can have on the go. Like, you can make content that kind of makes fun of the person that you are, but like is like this cheesy commercial. Like, do you ever think about how Super Bowl commercials are always the best? How can we do that with this menu over on the right-hand side? Like, how can you make light, like share a DIY project and you're showing it from start to finish, but you're doing a quick Energize break and you're like, okay, I'm running out of steam, and you have your Energize, and now all of a sudden you're like going ham on like your whole DIY project and it's finished, right? How can we make fun, have fun, keep it joyful, connect these incredible tools that we have at our disposal to our audience that we're trying to serve? And I know that there's some women who have talked about like being a widow, being miscarriage, TTC, all that kind of stuff. Like, there are some really, yes, I love that, Mike. Okay, well, you're challenged right now. We are going to look for a reel from Mike that talks about DIY projects and having that Energize. Okay, it's time to bring the yellow drink to the front. Women who are going, or men or women that are going through a really tough time. I know for me, Energize is like one of those things that gets me out of bed. I know that sounds so crazy and silly, but like knowing that I can sit down and have my quiet time with the Lord and have my Energize at the same time, like, it's not coffee for me, it's Energize. So how can I connect the simplest things that I'm automatically doing? I'm automatically, like, when I was going through infertility for 7 years, the thing that got me out of bed was like, I have a community of people who are relying on me to show up. So I didn't stay in bed and I didn't stay in that low place because I had something to do. How can we talk to that? How can we get people taking action and connecting that our tools are the best solution for wherever they're at? And I want to end with an example. I put example Tay, one of my coaches on my team, Tay, she got 4 Success Club points in the month of January from All Volume. And it was a yoga mat. It was a bunch of greens because she was spotlighting that product. And I want to share that with you guys because I think it's so easy to get fixated on like total solution, ask. And we forget to sometimes just meet people where they're at. What do they need? And how can you connect people to what they actually need? How can you share your journey? Like, I've struggled with sugar in the past, and especially going through infertility. Like, every time I got my period, guess what I was doing? I was wanting to eat chocolate. I was wanting to eat sugar. I had those cravings and I felt horrible. But you know what's cool is that I have Shakeology that I can make a mug cake out of. And I can now connect the dots for other people so that they don't have to wallow, because honestly, every time I ate sugar in that time, I didn't feel any better. It didn't change anything. But if I had my mug cake, I felt fine and I satisfied that craving. If I got a workout in, I felt even better after moving my body. So thinking through the people in our list, maybe our workouts are not for them. Maybe our total solution pack or our bod group is not for them, but there's something on our menu that we can build up their life by connecting them to. And my last thought for you guys before we hop off, this was something I read in my personal development yesterday, and I just felt like it's so well encapsulated like my journey, because I think it's easy to look at. I used to look at coaches that had achieved a certain rank or achieved a certain recognition, and I always thought like, well, I guess it was just easier for them. And I just want to share the secret to success is that we just make it up as we go. I know that's wild. Like I'm throwing a wild card out there to you guys, but we just make it up as we go. We have to. We don't have a choice. Action is the way to figuring out how to get the results that you want to take or that you want to get. So we guess based off of information. So tonight you received information. You learned a little bit more about who you are. You learned a little bit more about what you bring to the table. So the next step is to take your best guess. What does your best guess tell you you need to create content in Reels for? And then how can you do it? Don't make it this big thing where it's like, okay, I've got to have a production team and a ring light and a blah, blah, blah. Like, just show up. Like, I've stopped using filters on my stories because I'm just tired of like feeling like it has to be a production. Just show up. I did my meal prep and I turned that into a reel. I did my workout. I can turn that into a reel. I played with my daughter. I turned that into a reel. How can you take what you're already doing? You're doing your quiet time. You're doing your business hour. You're jumping on a call like this. How can you film yourself in action, doing things that you're already doing, and somehow turn that into the content that you put on your page? But the message is what gets people. It's not so much the dancing, the hoorah, the blah, blah, blah. It's literally the message that is pinpointed to the person, the mission field you're trying to reach. So we make our best guess on what we think will work best. And then we learn if and when it does go wrong. If we feel like that reel flopped, let's figure out why. Was the video camera, shaky? Did it not include me? Did it not really touch on the who and the worries and the wishes? That's our focus. As entrepreneurs, as body partners, we make it up as we go, and we have to. Then we take our best guess. We take our best guess. We take action. We start implementing. So as you hop off of this call tonight, you guys, your homework is to take a second and look through your notes and really pinpoint what is something that you can touch on in the next 48 hours that's going to connect a solution from our menu to your ideal market. How can you draw the line and say, you are here and I want to get you over here to this destination. So I'm going to create content that's going to get you there. I'm going to educate you, or I'm going to entertain you, or I'm going to show you what you could have, right? How are you going to create the content that's going to get that person there? That's what I have for you guys tonight. I will answer any questions. So that graphic for the PDF is not mine. I will have to ask the owner because I don't want to just share content that's not actually mine. I just shared it as an example, but there is one that I've seen floating around without the links that we can pop up because it's been in message threads. But thank you guys so much for this call. I hope it was helpful for you to take the step out of reel creating and content creating. And at the end of the day, you guys, you have a week left. You have a week left to impact your network, to change their life with something in our toolbox. So don't leave a stone unturned. Go after it. Go back to your no list. Go back to your follow-up list. Figure out how you can serve somebody today, because that's our job. We're here to serve, and a win is a win. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. And the replay will be in the Facebook group.